Hi, I'm Lisa from sewinglife.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this really cute folded Christmas decoration. It's really easy. It only takes 2 pieces of fabric and 2 rows of stitching, and it's just so simple. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe, and then you'll be notified of all the future videos. So these are the things that you are going to need to make your decoration. So first of all, 2 pieces of fabric. Now I would choose a light and a dark so that you can see the contrast on it. If they're too similar, you don't get the contrast and the effect is lost. Then the amount of fabric you need is literally dependent on what you use to cut out. So it needs to be cut out from a circle. You can use a pan lid, a bowl, anything that's round. I've used this bowl. The diameter, so the distance from there to there, is 19 centimetres, and that gives me a length of 11 centimetres. But you can use anything bigger or smaller, whatever you've got around the house. And then you just need a pencil, to draw around it, and some thread to make the hanging loop. I've just used some metallic thread. You can use any kind of thread. It doesn't need to be anything special, but it's nice and shiny and Christmassy. First of all, we're going to cut out around this bowl on both pieces of fabric. So go on the wrong side of the fabric and go all the way around. Careful not to do it too fast. Can you see how I did it a bit fast at the beginning and it sort of pulled the fabric? So just a little bit slower. The first piece. And then the same out of the second. A little tip for when you're cutting it out, just to make cutting out easier, is instead of having to grapple with all of the fabric, I like to just cut it out in a sort of square or a rectangle close to the shape that I'm actually cutting out. Just makes it easier to handle so that you haven't got loads of fabric wafting around. Another tip for cutting out fabrics, use so these are fabric, these scissors are actually for cutting out fabric specifically, and can you see they've got a really long blade? So what I would say is when you're cutting out, make sure that you use a large pair of scissors like this rather than a smaller pair, and actually use the whole length of the blade as well. So rather than doing like tiny little things which will give you not as good an edge, use the whole length. You see the whole length of the scissors, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and iron them so that when the decoration is made they just sit much better. You don't want all the creases in them. So okay, so I'm going to pin both of the pieces together, right sides together, and then you're going to sew all the way around about 1 centimetre from the outside edge and leave a gap of about 7-8 centimetres, which is not going to be sewn, because that gap that you'll leave will then allow you to turn it inside out. Okay. Now can you see what I'm doing is I'm guiding the fabric round with my hands, so you want it to be in as smooth a circle as possible. So just try and gently push your fabric, guide your fabric round as you're doing it. This is sewn all the way around now. All the edges are sewn together, right sides together, and there's a gap here of about 7 or 8 centimetres. So now you need to turn the bauble inside out, well, round to the right side. And what you want to do is you want to use your finger to push the seams out. So what you want to do then is take that to the ironing board and give it a good iron, but this seam here also needs to be folded under like that by about the same amount, by about 1 centimetre, because the next thing we're going to do is top stitch all around the outside edge. Give it a good iron, and that's going to bring it out into sort of a really nice circle shape. It's going to fold the pieces into place. So remember, the colour that the petals are going to be is going to be folded inside. So what you're going to do first of all is just simply fold it in half. and then you want to fold it into quarters, and then at that point there, which is the middle, you're going to do a stitch, well, a couple of stitches, about 3 or 4 stitches. Now you're going to fold each of the edges up. So again, you want the middle. So what you could do if you want to is just put a quick pin in there so that you can see exactly where that is. So fold that middle point up to there, and exactly the same on the other side. Just put a quick pin in. Okay, so fold those 2 middle points exactly into the middle. Okay, so you've now got 4 points, and what you want to do now is stitch the other way. So take the same thread and go through those 2. Take these needles, these pins out now. Go over, same, 3 or 4 times just to secure it. Right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lose that thread. So I'm going to, instead of just cutting it off there, I'm going to go through into inside my red fabric, you see, and then I'll just cut it off there so that it gets lost inside the fabric. So what you need to do now is create a square shape on the bottom here. So just push the fabrics down until you get a bit of a square shape forming. Okay, you can see from the top. There you go. And then what you're going to do is fold over each of these corners. So if I show you the first one, literally flip it over the top and then flatten it down. Okay, and the same for the next one. Flip it over the top, flatten it down. Keep going. Okay, and again. Okay, it will take a little bit of moving around, but essentially there you have your really pretty decoration. Now what we've got to do with the decoration is be able to hang it up. Okay, now to put the hanging thread in, you're going to pick one of the corners, makes no difference which one, and put a pin right into that centre point, and then unfold the corner. Okay, and the pin is going to just tell you where to put your thread. So coming from the back side, go in next to the pin, pull it through, and then make sure it doesn't all go through. You want a big piece there, and then go back a couple of millimeters away, back out. Okay, you can take your needle off at this stage, you can take your pin out, and then what you want to do is make sure you've got both ends there held tight. Just have a look and decide how much of a loop you want. So that's probably enough, about 8 centimeters each side, so probably about 16 centimeters. And then come over to the back and tie a knot. Now cut off the end and then turn it back over and pull the loop through. Fold it in place and the loop's ready. That's what it looks like on the back and on the front. So I hope you have really enjoyed making your Christmas decoration, and that is going to look beautiful on your tree. What I would recommend now is, now that you're in the Christmassy spirit, I would recommend going to the next video, which is how to make reusable gift bags. If you head on over there, that will show you how to make these, and I am sure you're going to love them. They are so easy. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.